Well, greetings, fellow witches and occultists. I'm Savannah from Black Witch Coven, and in case this is the first time you've ventured into my channel, I've been doing these type of videos for a long time now, well over a decade, before it was okay on YouTube to talk about occultism and black magic. This is times where we would be censored so much. Either my hosting company would pull down my website or YouTube would delete videos or ban the channel. But now we're becoming more open because more of us are watching these type of things. So if you want to support me and give me some love, as YouTubers say, feel free to do so. Now, I don't consider myself a YouTuber really. I consider myself a practicing occultist who does witchcraft, and I do these videos called the Ask Savannah series of questions, where I answer your questions in a way that according to my own studies and knowledge. So if you have a question for me, head over to the website, which is blackwitchcoven.com. And on the top menu bar, you'll see Ask Savannah. Click on that, and there's a little form for you to fill out and ask me a question. So today I'm going to be talking about the Intranquil Spirit. And the Intranquil Spirit is right up my alley, right up my alley. It is dark magic. So let's get into today's question. Now, today's question is from a current client whose name is Daniel, and Daniel is from New Zealand. Daniel's question is, what is your opinion and or experience with Intranquil Spirit love spells? Are they obsession or domination workings, or more like curse work? And I just love this question, Daniel. So to answer you straight up before we get into details, what is my experience with the Intranquil Spirit? Yes, so it is dark magic practices. So yes, this is right up my alley, the Intranquil Spirit. Are they obsession or domination workings? Yes, absolutely. Or more like a curse. And yes, it can be like a curse. Absolutely. So in this video, we're going to discuss all of this. Plus, I'm going to talk you through a very simple Intranquil Spirit spell option. It is for beginners, so this is something that I can talk about on YouTube without being banned or having this video pulled or heavily censored, etc., etc. So who is this Intranquil Spirit? Well, the Intranquil Spirit has South American origins, and it is, some people say the Intranquil Spirit was actually a living person who had a really unnatural death. Some people say it had supernatural origins, but really it doesn't matter. This spirit has a specific purpose. And I suppose you could say it has a zombie-like state where it just roams around the earth looking for specific situations and scenarios so it can lend its helping hand if it so desires. And that's a key to anything that comes with this type of working. Take note of this. It doesn't, just because you summon the Intranquil Spirit doesn't mean it's going to want to help you out. We'll get into that a little later. So basically it has this zombie-like status where it's just roaming around. For lack of a better word, it's a pretty angry spirit. It has a purpose, and you're not going to soften it and you're not going to change it. And I will mention this throughout the video. It's not going to have empathy for your cause. It can listen to your cause, maybe decide to help you out, but it's not going to feel sorry for you and our little human problems and think, oh, I really bless her heart or bless his heart, I really want to help him out. No, that's not the reason why it's helping you out. So save your really sad sob stories, your really long petitions for a friend. Keep it short and tight when you're petitioning the angry Intranquil Spirit. So why would you call to this Intranquil Spirit? Well, the most typical reason is to compel somebody that isn't doing what you want them to do, to compel them to see to your way of thinking. Basically, you want them to come to you. Secondly, maybe you want to torment someone who has hurt you in love, and you want to torment them for one reason or another. You really want to exact vengeance upon that person. Sure, the Intranquil Spirit might be interested in doing something like that, or you might be interested for binding type of workings. The Intranquil Spirit will love to push together two people. Why? Because if they're not working out already, there's a lot of enjoyment to push two people together. Maybe it's you and your lover who's been at each other. Push those two people together and watch them cat and dog it out. Now, I'm laughing because that's how crazy our human nature is. And so don't expect a spirit who is wise and knowledgeable and has a sense of humor, dark sense of humor. I'm a dark witch. Of pushing people together. Like if I came back as a zombie Intranquil Spirit, I want to take those cases where two people clearly don't belong together, and yet she wants him back for one reason or another. He's off playing the field, and why not drag him back to create all that chaos and watch them battle it out for the next 50 years because you're going to bind them together. It's going to be funny, but you're going to give them what they ask for and say, and so be it. Be careful what you ask for. Another key takeaway is, what is this Intranquil Spirit about? Well, the Intranquil Spirit's all about attacking the target's mind until they submit to you. That's what the Intranquil Spirit does. So let's talk about a few of the cons of working with the Intranquil Spirit. Well, remember, the Intranquil Spirit is already pissed off. So you better have a good reason for calling the Intranquil Spirit. Not that the reason has to be good, because remember, the Spirit doesn't care. It doesn't have empathy for you. It just has to have, you better be sure that you want to engage with the Spirit and push it into this realm of action. What I mean by the good reason is that once you call to the Intranquil Spirit, don't throw in there that, and I don't want it to hurt me, or I'm scared of it. If it's scary to you, just don't work with the Intranquil Spirit. It's okay. I always talk about this. Be careful what you want to summon or work with. It's a folly of modern magicians where we want to work with the big dogs, but we're scared of them. And therefore, we're putting ourselves in a place of peril. If you want to work with these guys, then step up there in your full strength as much as you can and have the respect to talk with them with strength and work with them with strength, and then thank them with strength, not with submission or not with begging them. You're going there with strength because you feel like you have strength to work with that level of energy. That's what I mean by having a good reason and feeling confident with what you're doing. Now, the next point I'm going to make is about obsession. It can seem really cool to have somebody obsessed with you, especially if you're craving them, especially if your partner's a narcissist and you have been under those level of narcissistic abuse for years and years. It's very hard to get away from that cycle. Really, you need some help from a friend or a therapist who can help you unpack these feelings, and so you can get into a more healthy lifestyle, either with that person, getting them into counseling, which we know is impossible with a narcissist, or moving on from the relationship and having time to unpack all of that negativity and find something more positive. So the obsessiveness, both to the spell caster, if you're casting the spell, and to the target, can be quite troublesome. And even worse, if the spell is that strong that it binds you, now it's binding you to someone that's really toxic, to people who are in need of help, or one person in need of help, and you're stuck now with a narcissist, and you're bound in to that toxic cycle. And to me, that is living hell. And remember, that's what the Intranquil Spirit is, a zombie-like spirit. And it can create a zombie-like situation in your life if you're not careful. The other con, I'll put it in the con list, is if you don't leave offerings for this level of spirit, it can be seen as disrespectful. Once again, using myself as an example, if I was the Intranquil Spirit, and I did this work for you. I took interest in your case. I did this work for you. And then all of a sudden, here comes your person back, and you didn't give me any offerings? Really? Huh. There's got to be a consequence to pay. So I would, at the minimum, leave an offering after the spell. And if you're only doing this spell once, I suppose you would have to be like a beginner in magic, which that's fine. Then make sure you dismiss the spirit. I have to say that because at this stage of my game, I kind of don't dismiss spirits. It's kind of a free-for-all in my temple. I don't mind. Me and all my invisible friends. But that's fine by me. But if I was you and I was just starting in magic or just wanting to cast this spell once, because this is the kind of spell you can cast just once and be done with it, especially if you're ballsy, if you can step up to the plate, why not? This is something that you could work with, give an offering, and dismiss. But as I said, it can be a con because if you don't give that offering, you could be getting yourself into a little bit of trouble. If you don't dismiss the spirit with respect, you could be leaving that spirit around to cause some fun and havoc in your life. I guess I just thought about that Beetlejuice movie, you know, that little guy, well, Beetlejuice, and just how much havoc he causes. Actually, I haven't watched that movie for decades, so I don't exactly know what he did, but I just knew he was causing problems, right? Kind of reminds me of the zombie Intranquil Spirit sort of vibe. Next, I'm going to talk about some misconceptions when it comes to the Intranquil Spirit based on some of the other questions we get. One of the questions was, someone was saying, you make sure you have to be justified before casting the spell. Well, it's so subjective. What is being justified? What is the most important reason to be casting this spell? Who's judging this? It doesn't really matter what the most important reason is. Just keep it short and tight because the spirit doesn't care. It doesn't have empathy. It's not going to feel sorry for you in your situation. It's engaging with you because you've summoned it, you've given it a task to do, and you're giving it an offering. And normally that offering is really time and respect, giving it attention, like all our spirits really, and then giving an offering because that's what we do in our human bodies. We're not going to entice them with money. They don't give a shit about that too, but they might care about what the respect you give by offering food or wine or flowers, candles, incense, blood. And in darker magic, which I won't be talking about today, you'd be leaving animal offerings as well. Secondly, some people say don't contact the target. And so questions are, should I contact the target during the Intranquil Spirit spell? And some people say, no, don't. Well, that's to me, once again, something silly because say, for example, you're doing the Intranquil Spirit spell on your husband that is being a bit of a hoe, or your wife who's being a bit of a hoe and has run off with another guy and left you at home with a whole bunch of kids, or maybe just left you at home and you want her to get her ass back there and you can't do it under any other normal way, so you have to engage with the Intranquil Spirit. So of course you're going to have to be contacting them. And of course when she comes back, you want to sleep with your wife again. Might want to hose her down a little bit. Joking. Maybe not. Girls, make sure you guys get a penicillin shot. But hey, joking. If that's your person and they are hoeing around, of course you want to be engaging with them. Of course you're going to be asking them to come back home. When they come back home, of course you're going to be sleeping with them. Don't worry about such things. It's not going to have any impact on the spell, upon you, or upon the success of this spell. That's the success of doing this is really if the Intranquil Spirit wants to engage with you, not if you've done this spell successfully or not. Now, if you're working in the dark arts, yes, absolutely. You probably picked up that there are a couple of demons that are quite similar to what the Intranquil Spirit will do. And for example, Astaroth can be engaged with in such a way. Astaroth can highlight those feelings of longing and attachment that you want that target to feel for you. Or even the demon Marbus, who through its healing interaction with the target can facilitate a process of emotional confrontation or healing of past trauma. And this is really important. For example, if you're trying to get back an ex, which is quite common in my experiences, a lot of people, by the time they get to me, have had a lot of trauma with an ex. There's been lots of fights. There's been a lot of emotional wounds in that relationship. And so if you wanted to summon a demon with an intranquil spirit, this is where I'm going with this, as I'm going to give you an example in a second. So each of these demons, I'm going to put a list actually on the blog post of the website. There's probably about 5 you could summon, but each of them have their own little nuance. Like with our human issues, each of those demons look after us in a certain way. And so Marbus, who can help us reconnect because of that past trauma, maybe help the target forgive you for your perceived wrongdoing in their eyes. That's really important, because a lot of people, when they're casting magic spells, they're just focusing on what they want as an outcome. And there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, that's what you need to do. But when you dig into it a little bit deeper, what I do in my magical services, especially for people going through huge issues, I like to tease it out. And each of those, we're working along a timeline trying to hit up various milestones. So if someone can't come home because they think that you've done something wrong, and in their eyes, no matter how much you've explained it in the past, you've probably thought about it 1,000 times already. You've taken 100 different angles on how to share with them that, can you please see it through my eyes? And they're just refusing to see it. Engaging with so for example, with Marbus, to help them see through those emotional issues and to at least allow a little forgiveness in their heart so they can come back and help work through these human challenges. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you now. Do I have a name on it? No, I don't. So this is an Intranquil Spirit candle, and working also with King Asmodee, right? The Intranquil Spirit. It's the Intranquil Spirit. And on the back there's a little prayer. Nothing wrong with it, but it's going to be on the website for you to use with your magical practice. But I'm using King Asmodee. I used the King Asmodee with the Intranquil Spirit to try and get an outcome for the client. And as you can see by this candle being super clear, this was quite successful. This is I do the spell, and a lot of times I'll light a candle in honor or something like that. And I like you can do divination to understand the outcomes of different spells, or if you're doing candles like this, you can actually read the jar candles. And it is said that the spirit gives you an idea of what the outcome could be or what the next steps could be for your spell by reading the jar. On our website under Candle Magic, I think it is, do a search in the search bar. I've got hundreds of pages on how to read jar candles or different candles, just for your knowledge. It's all up there. It's for free. blackwitchcoven.com, and then do a search for reading jar candles. You'll be able to do that. But anyways, let's get into this, because I want to teach you how to do a very simple Intranquil Spirit spell for beginners without having any other experience in magic. So the basic way to do this, like when I first rocked up to New Orleans and I found all these great botanicas where you can get these from, all different style of 7-day candles or jar candles, they're called. What you can do is, I like to burn a series of these candles. So in folk magic practices, especially hoodoo, it is said that you burn everything in you burn everything in odd numbers. And so you either burn 1, 3, 5, blah, 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 so forth. And really, if a matter is that important to you, you've got to burn at least 3 candles. If it's an offering candle or something like this where you're just getting a bit of feedback, sure, burn a single candle. But If you're doing folk magic practices, you probably want to get at least 3 and keep them consecutively burning. That means that when, for example, one candle finishes, if you want to be super, super fussy, it said with the dying flame of the old candle that you take that flame and light the new candle. Well, hey, you may not be at home at the time, so you just start the new candle directly after that and so on, okay? But what you do is you get one of these candles. This is the Intranquil Spirit candle. You basically, there's a couple of different oils that I use. There's the Intranquil Spirit oil, or use a compelling oil or a controlling oil as well, or use calamus. I love calamus, or any type of controlling herb. That's what you could use. If it's a herb, of course, you're going to sprinkle it on top of the candle. If it's an oil, what you're going to do is that you're going to stab the top of the candle. Once again, I like 5 times because I'm doing odd numbers. And you're probably going to put like a drop of oil maybe on each hole, or put just a few drops of oil away from the wick of the candle on top of the candle. And as I said, if it's a herb, you're going to sprinkle some of that herb on top of the candle. Next, you're going to get a photo of the target. People say, do I need a photo? Yes, you need a photo. You can take it a step further and create a voodoo doll if you want, but let's keep it simple, guys. So you at least need a photo of the target. On the back of the photo, you're going to write the details of the target as a minimum, and really what you want for that target to do. Really tight. Come back to you, be tormented until it comes back to you, blah, blah, blah. You can also, there's so many different ways that you can write your name on the photo. After all these years, there's really not a right or wrong way to do it. The spirit isn't going to not engage with you because you wrote your name the wrong way. I love seeing people fight about doing it right or wrong. It's got nothing to do with it, believe me. But if you like, a part of basically the psychological objective, I suppose, would be to write your name 3 times. So if you write the target's name 3 times, date of birth, what you want, and then write your name over the target's name 3 times as well, that can be a fun way to do it. Basically saying you're in control over the target, okay, giving you options. And what you'll be doing is you're putting the candle face down, well, basically you're putting the candle on the photo, okay? Now, you can also write, as I have done, especially when I'm doing client candles, I won't show you that. It's got the client's name on it. I'll write the client's name on the jar. I've stopped doing that depending on how much time I got. Really, it's just for the client to see. But so long as the jar is sitting on top of the photo. So as I mentioned, I'm going to put an invocation that is generally on the back of these jar candles on the blog post on the website. And I'm not going to say that because it's a very Christian prayer. But here is one that's very close to the one I say when I'm doing folk magic practices for lighting candles. Oh, intranquil spirit, restless and yearning, I call upon you from the shadows of the past. Hear my voice and come forth to this sacred space, for I seek your presence and your insight. You who know the depths of longing and desire, I invite you to connect with me and reveal the truths hidden in the depths of my heart. You are known to understand the complexities of love and pain. Guide me now in this moment of need. Spirits of the restless, I acknowledge your energy and I offer these tokens. As I offer you these gifts, I ask for your assistance. Let your presence illuminate my path and help me navigate the tangled emotions I carry within. I humbly request your aid. This is where you state very clearly what you want. May our connection be strong, and may you bring forth clarity as I honor you in this sacred rite. As I close this invocation, I express my gratitude. Thank you, in tranquil spirit, for joining me here. May we work together harmoniously, for my will is aligned with the energies you bring, so mote it be. Now, remember I was saying that you could use a demon in conjunction with the Intranquil Spirit, especially if you wanted to engage a demon who would be interested in a specific area of your relationship, like you had a special problem I spoke of before. In this case, I'm going to invoke Astaroth, or say a petition to Astaroth. And here is one that you could say. O Astaroth, great lady of knowledge and desire, I call upon you with respect and reverence. In this moment of longing and need, I seek your powerful presence to mend my heart. You, who embody the energies of attraction and persuasion, I ask that you bring person's name back into my embrace. Reignite the flame of love that once burnt brightly and restore the bond that has been strained. Let your influence remove the barriers that divide us. Inspire person to remember the joy we shared, to feel the pull of love that draws them back to me, and to recognize the depths of our connection. As I light this candle and offer my devotion, I present to you my offerings. May the warmth of this flame carry my intentions to you, and may your nurturing energy flow through me and into our relationship. I trust in your wisdom, O great Astaroth, to heal the rifts that have formed between us and to guide us back to a place of love, harmony, and fulfillment. Thank you, Astaroth, for your guidance and support. I honor you in this work and shall remain open to the beautiful possibilities you manifest. So mote it be. Hail, Astaroth. All you have to do is call to that Intranquil Spirit. I'll light the candle, and if it's a jar candle like that, I like to leave the candle burning until finished. If you want to snuff it out, well, if you have to because you've got a crazy cat or something like that, sure. But otherwise, I like to keep them burning consistently. And essentially, if it is a jar candle like that and it's burning, for as long as it's burning, each day come back to that candle, put a few more drops of oil on it, say those prayers or whatever you're saying again. And then once it's all finished, what I like to do is once again set that photo then on fire, releasing it all over to the spiritual world and to the Intranquil Spirit. And then you are supposed to bury their remains. So I'm down the cemetery quite frequently. I'll take a whole bunch of stuff and throw it in the ground somewhere. Or if that's not possible, I have buried it at the crossroads. It can be difficult if you're in a bigger city to go and bury something at a crossroads. And yes, I do get some looks, especially when I'm out and about in different areas. I'll just go to somewhere that it's not too difficult to get a little hand spade and quickly throw something in the ground. Or worst case scenario, wait till trash night and throw it in your trash can, making sure that it goes off your property pretty quick. You don't want that type of energy remaining. And remember, you don't want that remaining, especially if you're new to magic or you're just casting one spell. You don't want that all that energy just sitting around you, right? And then, as I mentioned, after that is done, you're going to leave the Intranquil Spirit an offering. So, for example, if the candle finishes or dies, you're going to thank the Intranquil Spirit for the work and leave maybe some wine there. Now, let's talk about the offerings. The offering can be left as soon as you light the candle. So you say the prayer, you lit the candle, the candle is now burning, and just thank the Intranquil Spirit. Maybe you leave some flowers there, some incense burning for the spirit, maybe some wine or whatever alcohol you feel like that spirit liked, or you can wait to the end of it. It's very important, remember I said, to give that offering, because if you don't, I see it personally as a huge sign of disrespect. Anyways. Right. So that's it. That is done. The next step up from that is to leave some blood. So put also a few drops of your blood, both on the petition paper and in the jar itself. Blood is the strongest offering you can give as a human. And it's nothing I consider it nothing to give a few drops of blood anyways. If I can give if the spell is that important to me, why would I even flinch at pricking my finger with a lancet and putting a few drops of blood as an offering to the Intranquil Spirit? If I can give my life force and I'm expecting to engage with the Intranquil Spirit and for the spirit to give its life force, hell, Absolutely yes. Why not? Now, the next step as well is graveyard dirt. Now, graveyard dirt is something that is very important to me, always has been, even before I came to America and was immersed into various folk magic practices. As a young girl in Sydney, Australia, when we were in the 80s, I would ride my bike down the cemetery and spend a copious amount of time down there. I just like the energy. I don't see it as morbid. I feel at peace. I feel like it's a place to get away from all the craziness of life and just chill in that energy. So I learned to respect the dead from a very young age. And so even now as an adult, when I go back to Australia, I'll normally grab one of the Coven members, such as Blonde Gypsy, and take a Sharpie and a whole bunch of sandwich bags, basically, and collect graveyard dirt from various graves in the cemetery. Now, it's easier to do if they're older graves because not that it says why or how the person died, but you can sort of get an indication. Was this a military person? Was this a nun? Was this a priest? Was this a baby? Does this person look like, you can, if you want to do your research, why not? Like, take your magic seriously. Remember, this is the next level. So I will go around the cemetery and collect dirt from multiple graves, and I will bag it and write on it straight away who I got this from, where I got it from, and I have a ton of dirt collected from all sorts of graves. So remember, Daniel was saying, is this cursing? And this is where in my experience, I say yes, and why I use the graveyard dirt component of this magic. The Intranquil Spirit is about tormenting somebody into submission. And what I'm basically saying is, be mine or suffer. And suffer, you can take that to mean whatever you want. But I guess for some people who have been so hurt by their target, it's basically be with me or don't be with anyone at all. And that is a premise for me for using the dirt. Now, graveyard dirt is also considered a way to evoke that intranquil spirit if you so wish to use it for that purpose as well. On the website, I will leave a binding type of spell if you want to take it the next step further, or if you're more of an experienced practitioner and you want to use a dull and an invocation to bind the target to you, but I'll leave that on the website. So here, for example, I have a candle on top of the petition, and this is a little metal plate. And the reason why I like to burn them on metal plates, because spirit or spell candles do have reactions. Candles do crack, and if they're sitting on a wooden surface, and especially a petition on top, yeah, it has caught on fire. Yes, I have had fires, and yes, I have called some very sexy firemen over to my house. Woo! Actually, in my temple room once, I think I spoke about this years ago. It was Mardi Gras time. A candle had cracked, and I did put a broken candle into a plastic Mardi Gras cup. Stupid me, I must have been high or drunk or something. And the cup caught on fire. These are plastic cups. And as it happened, it dripped off the altar into a huge bucket of incense. So could you imagine the smoke? And thankfully, I was blessed by Lucifer, happened to be home that day, and I thought all my birthdays had come at once. All these sexy buff men running through my door with big hoses. Woo! It was a great day. But, and they were really like, the altar room is something else. And so I was a little freaked that I was going to freak out all these people, but they all came out like, yeah, man, that's so cool. And rock on, sister. And I was just like, okay, I won't be causing too many more fires, but that was really hard. So anyways, the point is, don't put your jar candles in plastic, and make sure you sit them on a metal tray or in a stand. I have lots of larger stands, like church pew candle stands, that I put a lot of these in. And so fire safety is always very important, especially when it comes to spell candles. There you go. There's my little story. So now you know a little bit more about the Intranquil Spirit and how easy it is to work with that Intranquil Spirit for a very specific purpose. Let me know your thoughts. And if you have any other ways to work with the Intranquil Spirit, let me know. Any other ideas of offerings or things that have worked for you, or even some of the horror stories of working with the Intranquil Spirit, because we know there have been a few. Let us know below. Otherwise, as I said, I'm going to leave a lot more information on the website. Check under this video for a link to that blog post. Okay, so thank you for watching as always, and my friends, blessed beast.